Now, so let's go through the ugly food first, okay? So ugly food are basically poisons, okay? These are the food that patients just react very negatively. So I take all my patients off these ugly food. What are the ugly food? The number one ugly food is trans fat, okay, margarine. Dr. Goodhart has been talking about margarine being bad for patients for over 30 years, and finally we're catching on to it. Last year, I think it was last year, 2 years ago, McDonald's has actually stopped with the. I don't think they have stopped it, but they said that the oil they have used to make their fries, they have decreased the amount of trans fat. So you know that when McDonald's is trying to decrease the amount of trans fat, you know how bad it is for your body. Now these are things, these are fat that eventually will be incorporated into your blood vessel and into your heart, and it becomes very brittle. And because of that, it causes a lot of breakage of your heart, your blood vessels, and causes a lot of inflammations. So that's the number one thing I have my patient stay away from trans fat and particularly margarine. So what I tell my patient is, if you're still using margarine, I want all you guys to do this after this seminar, okay? You're gonna go to your fridge, you're gonna take out the margarine, and you're gonna start thinking, is this someone I really, really don't like, okay? And you're gonna, and you have to hate this person. You can't just not like them. You gotta really hate this person. And what you do is you're gonna give this margarine to them, and that's that's how bad this is. It's just poison. You really don't want this in your diet. Okay, so that's the first ugly food I take patient off. The second thing, artificial sweeteners. These are what I call the color packages. They are the pink, the blue, the yellow, Splendor, aspartame, all these things. Now they have done studies with aspartame. Basically, what it does is aspartame turning into a formic acid, and one is heat up, you turn to formic acid, and these are basically fire ant poisoning, so that cause muscle paralysis. So that's something. The second thing I take patient of is all type of artificial sweetener. I tell my patient, okay, if you're gonna have sweets, I'd rather you to be fat than start having these cancer problem. Another thing is called equal, which is one of the very common sweetener, and there are two components of equal, but they are different in Canada and US because different components are banned in these countries because it causes bladder cancer, but they just can't decide which one causes the bladder cancer, so they ban different things. So if you go to US or if you're in Canada, what is in your equal is actually very different. So it's just very confusing with a lot of these artificial sweeteners, so I just take all my patients away from it. And the next thing we want to look at, the next poison, is artificial coloring as well. And this has been shown to cause psychogenic problems. Kids with ADD, it's connected with a lot of time artificial coloring. So something like Fruit Loops, actually, it's not very healthy for your kids as well, and it's probably not for you as well. Now, a lot of my patients tell me, oh, I don't really take any artificial coloring. Now, what you don't know is that the salmon, the artificial salmon that you eat contain a lot of artificial coloring. Salmon gets its orange color from eating planktons in the sea, and that's why there's a lot of omega-3 as well. But for the farm salmon, because they are not eating these plankton, these fungi from the sea, they actually, when they first farm it, they cut it open. First of all, the colors actually are not orange. It was gray. So because of that, they had to put this very powerful pellet of artificial coloring in it to dye the flesh of the farm salmon, so it's pink now. So that's something that you want to be careful of. So artificial coloring, it is linked to psychogenic issues. So that's something that I want you to avoid as much as, actually I want you to avoid all of it. If you not if you can, I take my patient off it. The last ugly food, it's the soda pop. Now these are acidic food that basically changes your body's pH balances, so make your body more and more acidic. Now, for all of us, for all of you actually have fibromyalgia, all of you, every single one of you are acidic. Right? When you when we breathe, when we move around, our body produces acids, we call it lactic acids, and when you accumulate too much of that, that's where chronic pain comes from. They have done studies that all chronic pain patients, their bodies are too acidic. They done study with fluid that's around cancer cells, and all of them are acidic. So soda pop really changes the pH balance of a patient. So I take all of them off it. So if you look at this list, actually, the worst thing that you can have right now, it's actually Diet Coke, because it is soda pop and it has artificial sweetener as well. So please, please, please avoid these things. Okay, these ugly food, you just cannot have them. I promise you this. Okay. The next thing we want to look at is the bad food category.